My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. UFC 261 is the unicorn of UFC events. No cancellations. One fight dropped about a week ago, but no issues at weigh-ins.
So
no
far,
COVID issues.
What a jinx, right?
I just jinxed it. There goes your main event. There goes.
It's not even Saturday.
But we still have our final lineups. We've made a few changes. We've made some tweaks. So let's go ahead and walk through what our final lineups look like for UFC 261. I actually didn't change mine, but let me walk you through what I did and why I did it. So I went with Jimmy Crute over Anthony Smith. Crute is just a phenomenal wrestler. I imagine he takes Anthony Smith down, beats him up, potentially submits him. But either way, the grappling, I said phenomenal wrestler, but phenomenal grappler. The grappling of Jimmy Crute will dominate Anthony Smith. I don't think he can put him away. Anthony Smith is ridiculously tough. But if you go back to the Glover fight, Glover showed that, yes, Smith's striking is dangerous, but, you know, there's not a giant threat on the ground. Smith has sneaky good jiu-jitsu, but it's not sneaky or good enough for Jimmy Crute. So at $8,900, that made sense to me. I'm going with Rose Namajunas in the co-main event. This is a really tough fight, Wei Li is one of the toughest women in that division and on the planet in any division. She's crazy strong. She just went to absolute war with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but I think Rose is an interesting matchup. Rose is very well-rounded. She will mix in grappling. She is a good striker. Rose has traditionally had the mindset of, I'm going to come forward, I'm going to make this fight happen. So I think Rose will be very hard to put away, almost impossible to put away. I think Rose will just bring the fight to Wei Li. And she could win. Wei Li probably wins. Wei Li should win, but Rose, of the three title challengers, you know, her and Jessica Andrade are both pretty live as far as point scoring and maybe making something happen. Then I'm going with Alex Oliveira, the Brazilian cowboy. He is the underdog in this fight. He's very affordable, and he's a legitimate vet, a tried and true vet that has been through everything, fought everybody. And his last fight was, he got caught in a guillotine, but, you know, I think they're sort of either factoring in that sometimes he has brain farts and he just doesn't show up for a fight for some reason. But at the end of the day, Alex Oliveira is a genuinely good mixed martial arts fighter. He should absolutely win this fight. If he didn't have sort of the head game sometimes, this is a guaranteed win. But because sometimes he doesn't show up, isn't busy, doesn't do things that he should, there's a little bit of risk there. But I imagine Alex Oliveira is going to come out there, win this fight top to bottom. He's better everywhere. And I'll get some good points out of that for $7,500. Then I'm going with the two heavy favorites in the title fights. You have to have people in these 5-round fights. And I think both of these people keep their belts. Valentina Shevchenko is just an absolute machine. She kills it. She genuinely kills it. She goes out there. She destroys every single person they put in front of her, except Amanda Nunes, and she makes it look easy. So I have Shevchenko in there. $9,500 is an astronomical amount of money, but I think she'll score well. And I think the style with Andrade works out because Andrade does throw a lot, does move forward. And I think that'll force Shevchenko to be busier than usual and potentially get a stoppage. We're going with Usman over Masvidal. This is a tricky one. My heart is with Masvidal. I want Masvidal to win, but Usman, he won the first fight. Obviously, adjustments will be made from Masvidal for the second fight, but I think the biggest factor here is that Usman was dropped in his last fight against Gilbert Burns. And I think that was sort of a wake-up call, like, okay, all right, I can be knocked out. And when he fought Masvidal the first time, Masvidal clearly won those striking exchanges. So I think that Usman is going to be an even more wrestle first, grapple first type game plan. I think he's going to hold Masvidal against the cage even more than he ever did, shoot more takedowns than he did last time. And I don't think he's going to give Masvidal any space whatsoever to get any combinations off. And then finally, I'm going with Vargas over Zhu. This is a giant underdog here. Zhu is like supposed to be the next great thing. And most indications are that he is. Unbelievable record, tons of stoppages, but he's only like 20 years old and he's got a ridiculous amount of fights. And I'm literally putting it all on size. Vargas is bigger than Zhu, but size, age, and experience in this fight. There's so many unknowns with Zhu. I assume that's a padded record. So I'm going to take somebody who's been in the UFC for a little bit, not forever, been in the UFC for a little bit, bigger, stronger, probably mentally more prepared because it's not the first time under those UFC lights. But that's my lineup. You can swap Vargas. There was another $7,000 fighter. I forget who it was, but you can swap Vargas out if you're not comfortable with that. There's a few people there that could make sense for you, but I think Vargas could absolutely get this done. And I'm liking my lineup. So Jacob, why don't you go ahead, walk us through your lineup with your lock of the week.
I can't wait for this card. Can't wait. And I'll tell you for two reasons. Number one, we keep forgetting, or at least I keep forgetting, that the fans are back this weekend. It's going to be a full packed crowd, and I can't wait. I think it hit me finally when they did the press conference because they had fans at the press conference. So you could hear the fans cheering and booing, and it's going to be an awesome, awesome card. The second reason why I can't wait for this card is because there were no drops. So this week, we're going to find out who actually is very good between all of us and DraftKings. This week's going to determine it because normally there's drops. You hit the shuffle and you don't really like our lineups. This week, I think Dan said he likes his lineup. I love my lineup. Angelo, for some reason, likes his lineup. So, I'm really excited to see, who comes out on top this week. So I'm going to build, you guys can see my lineup here, but I'm going to tell you my lineup on how I built it because DraftKings always puts it in the weird order here. So I started with Shevchenko. I think she's the biggest lock on this card. I don't think Andrade has anything for her that's going to overpower her. And actually, we have a betting video that will drop around the same time as this. I actually put some prop bets on Shevchenko to win. So I like her. The second one that I like is Jimmy Crute. Someone made a good comment this week that Anthony Smith is a lot more dangerous than people give him credit for. And I'm not saying that Anthony Smith can't win this fight. I just think when you have such a good grappler and wrestler in Jimmy Crute to control the fight, it's hard. We've seen, Anthony Smith struggle with that in the past, but Anthony Smith, don't be surprised, if he catches a guillotine or something on a weird shot or a weird scramble, because, his jiu-jitsu game is fantastic. Third, this is probably the second lock on my card that I feel is Sabatini. Sabatini is just another fantastic grappler, fantastic wrestler. And then the guy he's facing, it's just not up to his level. Very, very good. Tristan, I don't think he's going to get finished, which I have another prop bet on this fight as far as finish, non-finish that you guys watch that video. So I like Sabatini in this fight to get some takedowns. I like Tristan to get back to his feet, kind of like the same play I'm with Anthony Smith. I like Anthony Smith to get back to his feet at times, which is just more points for Crute. I like Tristan Connolly is also a good wrestler in his own to get back to his feet at times. So I like Sabatini to get more takedowns there. And then if you guys didn't see, we have a video of my very, very good friend Glover Teixeira put a video up breaking down the main event. And he went with Jorge, so I got to go with my guy. That's, one of my good friends. It's Glover. So I got to go Jorge in the main event. He said he's seen him training. He has great takedown defense. And if you guys watch him at weigh-ins from the first fight to this fight, it is night and day. His energy levels, he looks ready. He looks like his cardio is going to be there. He stuffed takedowns before. If he just stuffs a few more, I actually think that this card is set up in a way to where there's going to be a lot of finishes because of the crowd. I think the crowd can play a lot into people coming forward and I think there's a weird chance here where Jorge comes out and just comes flying across the cage, Ben Askren style, and catches Usman, in the first minute or two where he's just not really into the fight yet. So I like Jorge in this fight. Next is the lock of the week. And I love this lock of the week. She was actually the only person on the card that almost missed weight. So she kind of missed weight, but then she had the barrier, took off her top and bottom, and then made it by half a pound. So she made weight, but it was a little nervous there for a while because I was watching it live and she came in a half pound heavy and I was like, oh no. So I think if she does lose, that takes a little bit off of me because she came in a little heavy. That's not on me. But she's still my lock of the week. I think her grappling is just head and shoulders above Ariane. But I'll tell you that Ariane looked absolutely jacked. She is shredded. She is huge. She hits like a truck. But I think Na just gets this fight to the ground immediately. And I put another two. I'm telling you, I keep alluding to these prop bets I'm placing on our betting video, but I got some good ones, and I got a good one on Na that's going to hit big. And then to round it out, I think that was 5 now. Yeah, to round it out, I have Brandon Allen. Again, I just hope he definitely should dominate this fight, but we've seen him try to use his striking in the past. Just please, Brandon Allen, stick to your grappling, grapple, and you'll easily win this fight. So this is definitely a 5 out of 6 lineup. And since my good friend Glover picked Jorge, this is a 6 for 6 lineup. And we're going to find out. I mean, this is the week to find out who's really got it.
I love the built-in excuses to the lock of the week every time.
There's no excuse.
I mean, this time I thought he was like going down another path where he was going to say there is no excuse. And then he's like, well, she was a little heavy, so that's not on me if she doesn't perform. Love it.
Typical Jacob.
Undefeated no matter what, right?
Yeah, we doing our bets or what? We doing side bets? Come on, let's do some side bets.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Let's
You already
do a
got
side
embarrassed last week.
Love to.
Okay, Jacob. Okay. In
I thought we were
front
going
of
to
the
do it
world.
again. We're going to do
Yeah,
this
I'd
all
love
over.
to.
Would you like to do a side bet? The amount that I normally side bet Dan?
Listen, I'm in the process
It's a
of
yes
selling.
or no question.
I'm in the process of selling a
Okay,
house.
let's move
I'm
on.
trying to.
Let's
I
move
got to
on.
talk to my account. Listen, I got to move some money
This
around.
is your champion.
No,
this is
let me-
the
now-
people's
now-
champion.
now listen, let
shying
me talk.
away from
He's
general-
going to talk to his accountant.
I have to talk to my accountant.
Hey, Dad,
I have to move some money around.
His father literally is his accountant. That wasn't even a joke. Like that literally is. So this is your people's champion. Weak in the spine, red in the beard,
I'm ready. I gotta move some big money around. if you
yellow
wanna
in the
bet with me.
guts. He's
Big
yellow.
money.
He's yellow. Dan,
All right.
let's walk through your lineup.
All right, so we'll start off with Baccarat. So all the tape I saw on him, he looked really, really impressive. I think he's just going to be a step ahead of Natividad everywhere, especially striking. I think this is probably going to be a stand-up fight for the most part, unless Natividad realizes he's outmatched and tries to go for a takedown. But on the feet, I think they're both going to score a ton of points, but I think Baccarat is going to land more and the cleaner shots. So I think he's going to get a bunch of points. $8,500 I thought was a great value on him. And from the tape I saw, he looked very, very good. So I'm excited to see his fight. Up next, I got Molina over Keelang. So I did find a little bit more tape on Keelang. He does look tough. I mean, he looks like he's got some heavy hands. He's got some grappling. He looks like he's a bulldog a little bit. But from what I saw in Molina, his last fight was extremely impressive. He fought a similar type fighter, a guy who kept coming forward, throwing heavy shots, a good fighter too. And he was so precise with his counter shots. He didn't even show his jiu-jitsu, which is one of the stronger parts of his game. So I think he's got the skill set everywhere to win this fight. Maybe wrestling might be a little bit of a problem, but I don't see that being the main factor in this fight. I think he's going to be the more accurate striker. And if it goes to the ground, I think he could pull off a sub or win in the grappling exchanges. So for $8,000, I thought he was a great value in what should be a ton of points, no matter what way it goes. These guys are flyweights. So usually lots of action in these fights. Then I got Rose for $7,200. This is a pure value play. I don't think she'll win the fight. She could pull it off. I mean, she's won some big fights in the past. I didn't think she was going to win, but for a 5-round fight, $7,200, very active striker against another very active striker. If it goes the distance, I think even in a loss, she's going to be well worth the $7,200. And who knows, she could pull it off. She can land a big shot. She's shown she has knockout power in previous fights. So that's my value play right there. Up next, I got Pat Sabatini. Angelo kind of talked about it. Sabatini is just a different level athlete, I think, over Connolly. Connolly is tough and he's game, and he took his last fight on a week and a half notice and went through that crazy first round and just kept pressuring forward. So I don't think he's going to quit easy. I just think he's going to be, unfortunately for him, outmatched and dominated a bit. So wouldn't be surprised to see a decision with a ton of takedowns, a ton of ground and pound, and Sabatini just being too tough to give up. Or I could see Sabatini just, flatten him out on his back, dominating with the wrestling, second, third round, getting a ground and pound victory. So I got him in there for $8,800. Then I got Shevchenko, again, very expensive, $9,500, but 5-round fight. Angelo, you alluded to it earlier. Andrade, her pressure will force Shevchenko to be very active. I think it may cause her problems early in the fight a little bit. I think this could be competitive, but I think over the course of 5 rounds, I think she's too well-rounded. Her striking is too good. And I think she's got underrated ground too, if it does end up there. So I think she's going to win this fight. I think she's going to dominate the majority of it. And over 5 rounds should score a ton of points. And then up next, I got Chris Weidman for $7,900. So I was looking all week about potentially swinging him out. I think he's going to win the fight. The question is, for $7,900, do I think he'll get a ton of DraftKings points? I'm not sure. We'll see, but I think he will dominate this fight with wrestling. I think he beats Uriah Hall. I think he's got the skills to do it, especially if he has the game plan to do it. And honestly, Chris Weidman was a champion. So from what I've seen in his interviews, his weigh-in, like, he just looks ready. I think his last fight was a little sloppy, but it was against a tough opponent, and he was back and forth between weight classes. So I think he's going to settle in nicely for this fight, put on a dominant wrestling clinic, and hopefully score a ton of DraftKings points. The only guy I was considering swapping him out with was for $7,500, Oliveira. But I just think,
Dan, let me tell you right now,
Weidman's going to win. I think a Weidman has a better chance of winning the fight than Oliveira does, just because of the uncertainty around Oliveira. So I'm sticking with Weidman for $7,900. And I feel really good about my lineup. Go ahead.
Do not swipe out Weidman. I just finished the last Embedded, episode 4 of Embedded. He's shirtless. He's sweaty. He's hitting mitts. And he looked fantastic. He looked like he's in the best shape of his life.
Yeah, so, relax. Your lotion bottle is still in camera shot, so just settle down.
That's appropriate, Angelo. Come on, we've got.
And then, so Dan,
we've got sponsors. All right.
My only issue, I love Weidman. I want him to win. I said if there was a drop, I'd put him in my lineup, but there wasn't a drop, so I left him out. My only concern with him is his chin. That's the only concern. Like, he could absolutely get put away, like, in the first round. That's the only concern. He's better at everything except his chin is an issue. And Uriah Hall occasionally finds that chin. So that's my only concern there, but I do love him. I'm rooting for him. And like I said, if there was a drop, I was going to put him in too. So
yeah, Hall has good boxing and good striking. I just think Weidman knows the path to victory here.
Yeah. He's not stupid. Yeah.
And his last fight, he needed a win. I think he knows he needs wins right now. So I think he's going to come out with a good game plan, a smart game plan, and hopefully execute and dominate the fight.
Yep. I hope so as well. He's not in my lineup, but I'm rooting for him big time. That's what I love about these cards with all these big names. I love every single fight, not just the DraftKings ones. We talk about, we have our own DraftKings league that you can compete in for free, and we give out gift cards to the winners. And I talk about, if you're new to DraftKings, there's nothing more exciting than all of a sudden you're rooting for underdogs that you've never heard of before. It
makes every single fight fun on a card. I mean, when we started doing this, a year and a half ago or whatever.
Yeah.
We started doing it a while back, but I used to never watch every fight on the card. I'd watch my friends, my teammates, and then big fights. I'm like I know more about some of these undercard guys now than I do the main card guys. So it makes it a lot of fun. It makes it interesting.
It does. And these cards get even better because we've done all the research for the undercards. We have those lineups, and there's the big names that we're just rooting for. So this is an exciting card. Nick, what's your lineup? Well, Nick's not here. Nick's in the middle of fight camp. He's running his training camp right now. But we did leave it here because he is still a part of the family, and we didn't want anybody wondering where Nick went. But he's in fight
I'm sure
camp.
he'll submit his before tomorrow.
We'll get it, and we'll upload
get
it.
Updated.
Yeah,
he wanted to see what my lineup looked like first, so he could,
make his adjustments from there.
Yeah.
But
I think he was waiting for my friend Glover's pick.
So we'll get you that.
Yeah.
Couple things.
Thanks for calling him, Jake, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, anytime. If you guys want autographs or anything, let me know. I'll get them for you.
So a couple things. One, we have that Glover video. Dan reached out to Glover, said, hey, can you make a pick for us in the main event? And he did that. So check that out, get his analysis. And also, speaking of Dan, he's just not quite in love with himself enough. So we've put together a highlight reel for him, and we've uploaded that as well. So watch that. Tell Dan how amazing he is.
My highlight film will be up next week.
Yep. You know what?
Jacob's is taking longer because he's got a ton of highlights.
I'm going to put an image on the screen right now.
This kid can hit an 8-iron at least 90 yards.
I'll put an image up on the screen of Jacob's biggest athletic accomplishment. So Jacob, you know what picture that'll be. That's the people's champion. That's what he looks like. Okay?
All conference.
Good job, guys.
All conference.
Anyway, comment down below. Let me know which lineup you like best and who you have in yours. We're looking forward to the fights. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.